Hello, welcome to Such Nice Work Podcast. I'm Kendra, and you can find me on Ravelry as Kendra KS. You can find me on Etsy as Cutesy Poo Creations. You can talk to me in these little notes underneath me on YouTube, and you can find this and other things on the blog at cutesypoocreations.blogspot.com. So yes, those are all my places. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. And if you're new, well, thanks for giving me a shot. I think this will be relatively quick this week. I didn't have necessarily a lot of things, but we'll see how that all, shakes out. What I am wearing today, today I have on some earrings that I made, a while ago. Let's see if you can see those. There. Where they got focus. They're pretty cute. They have like a heart and it has little flowers on it. They're like China hearts kind of. There they are. So yeah, wearing those today to go with my my sweatshirt. I called this my roasty toasty. My hubby got it for me for my birthday. And it's very, very, for whatever reason, it's got like this fuzzy lining. He got it at Orscheln's. And, but it is lined all the way through the sleeves. It's not the fuzzy stuff all the way through, but it actually is lined all the way through the sleeves. I've looked at some of these before, and they're like lined in the middle, and then not on the sides, and, we always joke, like, what, is your torso, in a different climate than your arms? Because, don't you really need your arms to be warmer? Because aren't you more likely to be, wearing more layers in the middle? I don't know. But yes, it is incredibly warm, incredibly quickly, which is good because it is very cold out today. I went into town for a little bit this morning, and the bank said it was 9 degrees. So in my car, though it's windy, so I think it is much less than 9 degrees. But yeah, it's supposed to be warming up, maybe, hopefully, a little this weekend. Looking forward to that. So, moving along to my squeaky wheels. What are the things in my life that just need to get done? My old ones for life was to clean up the parlor, and I did a lot of that. I have quarantined most of the crafts, have gone to the basement. I have 2 more plastic storage boxes I got. This is a good time of year to get storage boxes, too, if you're going to want to put, like, your crafty stuff in stuff at some point in the year. It's really best to stock up in, like, January, because they are a better price than they are ever the rest of the year. And I always don't buy enough boxes for different things in January. And then I don't do the organizing the rest of the year because I have nothing to put it in, and I am too cheap to pay the prices that the storage totes are later on in the year. But yeah, I got a bunch of them, like a dozen or so. I think I got 13. I tend to now buy like 2 or 3 more than I think I'll need because I always find a use for them. Mostly because we still have kids that are outgrowing clothes that we're saving to hand down. And we have saved a ton of money doing that. I know some people don't like doing that, but we have the space to put them in the basement, so it's not like they're in our way while we're waiting for the next kid to rapidly grow into them. With my 2 sons, I almost think that they're just cycling through. They barely make it into a box, and then the next one's ready. Yes, they're getting big. Let's see. So yeah, I cleaned up. I swept really well, which was one of the big things because our wood stove is in our parlor, and we've been bringing in lots of wood because it's been really cold out. So my hubby brings in wood at night so that I can fill the stove while he is at work, which I do sometimes if I wake up. I definitely do it before I go to bed, but not always in the middle of the night. But yeah, the house has been staying a nice temperature though. So I cleaned up the floor, and I put away a lot of the craft stuff, and I'm still kind of organizing and putting things away. But I definitely think, as I'm looking over, because there's a big opening into our parlor right next to me, that yes, it is much nicer, and I definitely think I accomplished that squeaky wheel. As far as the crafty goal was to finish and send out all the applications for next year's craft shows, that's not done. But it is in progress. I have printed out all of the applications. They are partially filled out. I'm just putting together the photos and stuff that I need to send in with them. One of the shows needs me to send in pictures of me making the craft. So we've been trying to take pictures of me like crocheting and making cards that don't look ridiculous and staged, which they all kind of do. There's just no way around that. So I'm trying to put those pictures together. So my new squeaky wheels, the things that I am going to attempt to, grease a little, give a little love this week, and I'm moving it from a crafty goal because it really is more of a life goal. I need to finish and send those applications in because I do know that they need to be in before February for me to have any chance of getting into these larger shows. So I will try and get that done this week and get them mailed off. Along with some other things I need to take to the post office. I'm so bad at going to the post office. I don't know why. I just have issues with that. First of all, our post office is only open till like lunchtime. And mornings are very busy around here. So getting to the post office by noon is frequently not happening. And then there's another post office that's like 6 or 7 miles away. And it has a pickup at 2. But they are closed for lunch from like noon to 1:30. So yeah, so the time of day, which would be easiest for me to go to the post office, no post office is open. That's annoying. That's what I get for living rural, huh? I guess, yeah, it's probably worth it. My crafty squeaky wheel, I need to finish making the Valentine's things, which you will see, and get them over to Gypsies in Washington, which is a place that I consign my crafts. So, I would like to get those over there by Friday so that they're only open on Fridays and Saturdays. So I'd like them to have the Valentine's-y stuff for several weeks before Valentine's Day so that they potentially might get purchased. And a lot of them are Valentine's-y, but I can probably use them other times of year with minor tweaking and or the same things. So yeah, kind of made it with that intent. So yes, get things to Gypsies. So those are my squeaky wheels. I need to get basically business stuff done. Yeah, just what needs to happen right now. Moving along to I'm proud of yous. What did I accomplish this week and actually finish? So the first thing is what I'm calling my Janet cowl. I showed it to you last week, but now it's a Janet cowl that became a stationery holder. So I started making this cowl, and it went this way. I zoomed in a little much this time. There I am. Okay, so I made this cowl, and it was a little wide. I chained the 60 stitches that the pattern called for. The Janet cowl was a free pattern on Ravelry. And it is also the crochet version of the Red Heart Lovers group. Knit and crochet along for the month. And so I did the number of stitches they called for. I even think I may have started with a G hook. Anyways, I did most of this in an I hook. I don't know. And it looks like an I hook from the beginning. I may have started with a G and didn't like the fabric. I don't remember. I started it at night late, and yeah. Most of this was done in an I. So I did that, and it just seemed really wide, because this is not the part around your neck. This was supposed to be the width. So even if you like kind of folded it in half, it was just going to be a lot of fabric. I really liked the fabric it was making. It was just too wide. But I kept hemming and hawing. I had gone a decent way before I kind of decided I thought it was too big. And then this is a whole skein of Plum Pudding Super Saver. And I was looking at it, and it was too wide, and I just felt like it was a lot of work I'd put into it to just frog it. And then I went, oh, if I fold up the bottom, will it fit half sheet of paper for stationery? Totally would. So I folded it into a little pockety bit, stitched it all together. There's a little pen holder. I just need to make the stationery to match it, which I will get on the next couple of days. And then I've been trying to play around with different ways of closing my stationery holders. So this one I made like a strap thing. It just folds over instead of a button. So that's that. And I'm going to make some probably heart themed or kind of Valentine's-y stationery, and then take this up to Gypsies for that season. And if it doesn't sell, you just might see it in the Etsy store here coming up. Or something like it. I kind of like the pattern, so I might do it again. We'll see. Though the Janet cowl, it is made with a shell that is a single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet shell, and it eats yarn. Like, this is not a very big amount of stuff to have accomplished with one skein of yarn, especially for Super Saver. So yeah, that's just worth noting that it eats up yarn. So I finished that. My cowl grew into a stationery holder, and now it just needs to grow stationery. And what else did I make? Oh, I made a hat for my hubby's uncle, who likes the Giants, the one I made the Giants scarf for. I need to mail that off. And I decided that his birthday was coming up, so I made him a hat, which still needs the ends woven in. But this hat represents the 49ers record for this year. The golds are wins because those are that gold. And the red are when there's bloodshed and, you know, if it's burgundy. But when they lose. So we just have plain wins and losses. I didn't do home and away like I did with the giant scarf. And then the ribbing is the two held together. So it's held double, and then I held the two colors double to make the ribbing. So I would put it on, but it doesn't fit very well over my hair. But yeah, so that hat will go to him. I think he will like it. At least I like the sentiment. I hope. So we'll get that out too. And I made a couple of dishcloths this week. I made they're heart-shaped. So I haven't washed them or anything. I think they'll lay a little flatter once they're washed. This is the heart dishcloth pattern. It's free on Ravelry. I kind of like, it's got this like kind of a twist in the middle. This one I did the way it called for, where you go in the back loop. So you get these like ridges on this side, and this side doesn't. And then this one, when I made it, I did through both loops because I wanted to see what the difference would be. And I mean, it's not huge, but it probably is cuter the way they call for, the back loop only on that one. So I might make some more of these. I mean, I'll definitely over time probably make more of the heart ones because I think they're pretty cute. And they're a nice size. Like, they fit your hand good because some people like big dishcloths. People like really tiny ones. And I think this is a good, like, mid-size. Anybody you gave this to would love it. See? Heart love. But yeah. Moving along. What else did I... Oh, I made some cards this week. I made these cards this week. There's some Valentine's-y ones. That one says, "Have a wonderful day." Which, I mean, just has hearts, so you could send it otherwise. There's another one of the Valentine's-y ones. I have a few of these. Like a set of 3. And then I have a couple of sets of these. Or just one of those. And then I made these. Have some little, they're cabbage roses. Very pretty. The paper was. So I was going to pick some of those up. Oh, there's some more with some flowers. Some pink flowers. And then I think for these, because I made 4 of these. And then I made 4 of these. I think, oh, these go this way. I think I'm going to make card holders for these. Kind of like I made the red ones around Christmas. That have, I think this is probably going to be in like, I have a seafoamy kind of green, and then I'll put like a lavender heart on it. And then probably purple, maybe purple and pink, purple and white to go with those. So those would be some little like stationery holders you keep in your purse. Just kind of always have some cards on hand. I also started to make some like spring and summer cards that are kind of all occasion-y. So there's some of these. Oh, there's some hearts on these too. And I made like a dozen of those. And these are kind of cute. With the mushrooms, I made like a dozen of those. And I cut out the pieces for several dozen more cards. I just need to sit down and glue them. But I've been trying to put together a few cards every day because I need to start stockpiling some stuff for the summer and spring and whatever. Because I have a lot of Christmas cards, but I'm not going to be selling Christmas cards in May. I could theoretically sell some in July, for like Christmas in July. But yeah, I don't think that I will be selling them all summer long. Yeah, so those are the things that I accomplished. Yay, I'm so proud of me. I actually kind of am. I got some stuff done this week, though I felt like I should have gotten more finished, but I didn't. I think I kind of was spinning about crafting this week, like lots of puttering and playing, and though really, I mean, I didn't have that many things that I like messed up and frogged. I only did like one. Yesterday, when I was waiting for my daughter's dance class, I made part of a hat, and then I didn't like it, so I frogged it, and it's going to grow into a hat and some wristers. But so yes, what will I procrastinate about, or theoretically prioritize? Probably procrastinate. Yeah, so the Janet cowl that is actually a cowl as opposed to the cowl that grew into a stationery holder. So I recast on, and this time I only used, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I used 30 stitches for this one. And this, again, this is a whole skein of the Plum Pudding Super Saver. And it's going to, you know, get hooked together. It'll be a nice cowl. I have one skein more of this particular die lot. And I am going to use the same stitch pattern and make some fingerless mitts. And probably a similar stitch pattern and make a hat that will go with them to sell. And then whatever is left of that skein, if I have yarn after I make the wristers and the hat, then I'll just keep adding on to the cowl because these are from the same die lot. So interesting thing. A lot of times, you know, you think of Super Saver as not having a die lot, but a bunch of their multis do actually have die lots. Let's see if you can tell the difference on the camera. These are the same color, different die lots. The pink is like completely different. Like this one is more like their light raspberry yarn. And this one is more like their bright pink, or like a hotter pink. And the purple is brighter, and this one's a little bit more like subdued in lavender. So I'm actually kind of glad that this didn't grow itself all the way into a cowl, because I wouldn't have had enough of the yarn in the right color at the rate that one was going, because I needed like another skein. So yeah, just worth noting, if you're going to get Super Saver and it's going to be a multi, you should make sure you check the die lot. Though this is the first time I've had any kind of color differentiation, because I have mixed die lots before and never been able to tell a difference. But interesting to note. So yes, I'm going to finish this here pretty soon. It's what's currently in my bag that I've been taking around places when I go to the things. Yes, I'm also working on this. This creature also had an interesting life. This is a love bug that I am making. There he is. He's kind of cute, huh? He started out for Christmas for my youngest son. I bought him a book called Naked Mole Rat Gets Dressed. So I was going to make him a naked mole rat to match based on a hippo pattern, and I was just adjusting where I put the muzzle. Now this was based on, I had kind of looked at the picture of naked mole rat online, but I hadn't really, you know, spent a lot of time with it because we didn't actually have the book yet. And then I had all the parts done for Christmas. I guess I didn't have the legs and arms done, but I had the body and the head, and I had them all attached as I thought they were supposed to be. I looked at the picture, and the head was shaped wrong, and it really bothered me. So instead I made him a cape for Christmas, and was going to do something else with this. And I started playing around with things, and I was making this heart, which is using the dishcloth pattern, the beginning of it. It's just a smaller version. And I was going to attach it to the bottom of like a children's scarf. And it didn't look right. I didn't like it. So I started thinking about how I could use it as wings for this. And so I put the arms and the legs, and I made a little bow tie, which is hearts too. And then I made a second one of these, and I stuffed it. It's like little heart wings. And I'm in the process of making eyes. It's going to have like bug eyes, kind of, that go on the top of its head. And last night I decided I'm going to make them out of hearts. So there's going to be stuffed hearts that are like eyes on the top of its head. So that's that. That's the love bug. It's kind of a ridiculous toy, but he's kind of also super cute. Like, I want to just like hug him and cuddle him, and yeah. So anyways, that will be for sale somewhere, sometime. What else? I think that's everything I've been working on. I feel like there should be more, but this week has gone really fast. And maybe, did I not record on Tuesday last week? Maybe I didn't have a whole week. But anyways, that's all I finished. Which I guess to some people seems like a lot, but I feel like that wasn't enough, but whatever. So who doesn't love a good nap? I like some good needle adjacent projects. I guess in my case, is it a hap? Would it be a hook adjacent project? Anyways, so it'd be like, what's the haps? I don't know. Who doesn't love a good nap? Because I like napping, so we'll go with that. I am going to make I talked about how I'm trying to make more dishcloths this year, and I joined the group for a dishcloth a week. They have a crochet and a knit pattern every week. I'm obviously just using the crochet pattern because I don't know how to knit. So this week's is a multicolored dishcloth. I know it's a black and white picture, so it doesn't necessarily do you a lot of good. But it has the link to this free pattern on Ravelry. And it is, you know, like stripey. And I'm going to make it out of Bernat Handicrafters Holidays. I bought a bunch of this. Bernat had a really good, like, case lot sale. So I bought a whole case of this. And I also bought a case of these, which is Peaches and Cream. So I'm going to do these two together. This is Billowing Blues, which I really like this color, but apparently it's discontinued. But I have a couple cases of it. I got a case of this for $25 for 6 of these, which is a really good price for cotton, especially on the cones. And I've been really happy. They haven't had lots of knots in them or anything, so that's good. But I'm going to do these together. Like I said, getting ready for summer things. This will be kind of like patriotic-y, but not necessarily. So hopefully that'll be appealing to people. So I'm going to do those as the stripes for the multicolored dishcloth. So I need to make one of those here pretty quick before Sunday, because Sunday the next pattern comes out. And, oh, I also would like to make some more, like, amigurumi stuff to take to Gypsies by Friday. I want to make the little owls, like the stuffed owl head things, so I can put, like a ribbon on that says, like, "Owl always love you," that sort of thing, for Valentine's. And then I might do some stuffed hearts or some crocheted flowers or something, also. We'll see what gets finished. So then moving along to hoarding a mountain of good intentions, because, well, I don't have a lot of stash, but I'm trying not to have a lot of stash, but I need a little bit of stash, right? Personal stash, because most of the stuff I have, I've bought with a business intent, out of my business account, so, you know, not for my personal consumption. I mean, I have plenty of personal yarn, but as far as buying nicer things for myself. So the beginning of my birthday present came, sorry for all the crinkles, the first of my Pancake and Lulu yarn came for January. Not yarn, fiber. And this is the Frostly colorway. I really like, there's like a really dark teal that I like, and there's some pops of like a really nice lavender. So I think this is going to be very pretty. Frostly, it is, oops, there's that card, Pancake and Lulu. And you can find them on Etsy. Though, I guess, plyarn.com also. But that's their card. And this is 3 ounces of 100% Falkland. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with this. This will be the second braid that I spin, because I have the pumpkin patch braid, which I believe is merino, that I got with my spindle, that I want to spin first. And I'm almost through the plain practice roving that came with it. And when I finish that, then I will move on to the braid and play with that. I'll talk more about that later. So yes, I did that. I also placed an order with Webs that I'm waiting anxiously for them to fill, because my Rose City Yarn Crawl mystery shawl pattern comes out next week, I want to say, and I still had not gotten the yarn for it. I looked at the yarn, I picked the yarn was sitting in a shopping cart, and then Webs ran out of that yarn before I, you know, pulled the trigger and bought it. So I kept looking because I saw other things and what did I want, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, it wasn't there anymore. So then I had to go and pick new yarn, which was really hard, and I was having a very difficult time. And then I finally found something, and then it was lace weight, and it really called for sock yarn, and back and forth I went. And finally I found something I liked, and I got it. And then I got a second skein of the same kind of yarn because I liked the yarn, and I thought it was a good deal. Then the more I've thought about it, I think the second skein is what I'm actually going to make the shawl out of, and yeah, but we'll see what it all gets here, because it's a variegated, and I also got some Cascade 220 that was plain in like a silvery color to go with it. So I will see when I get everything in person what combination I actually want to do. Or if I need to get a different solid to go with it. It's very hard to match yarn on the computer. But I don't have an LYS. My LYS is Walmart. How sad is that? I can theoretically drive an hour and go to like Joann's and Hobby Lobby, which I do on occasion, but even there's no LYS. There used to be, and I guess the woman is still around, and she like sells at like Stitches and like, I think she went to Stitches this year on the website. Anyway, she sells at like the bigger shows, and she sells patterns online, but she no longer has a physical brick and mortar location, which I totally understand because that's really expensive. Probably for how much business she was getting. But yeah, so no LYS. Sad face. Moving along to what I'm reading. Still reading Anne of the Islands. Getting toward the end. Really looking forward to the end. If it was just me reading it, I would be done. But since I'm reading it aloud to my daughter a lot of days, I've just wanted her to go to rest time. So we've been reading only one chapter, even if they're really short. Whereas, you know, if I were to sit down with the book, I probably would have just powered through some of the story that I haven't. But, yeah. And then I started, for my 30 Things to Do While I'm 30, one of the things I wanted to read was a book by Mercedes Lackey, because I had a childhood friend who Mercedes Lackey was her favorite author, and it was a fantasy book, and I always just thought I wasn't into fantasy books, but I'm kind of interested in fantasy books. I just have a really hard time picking which ones I want to read based on reading the back covers. I've actually found that I'm having that problem a lot with books. I just don't know what to read, so I read nothing at all. Because it's like overwhelming trying to pick a book. And audiobooks are the same way. Because with the audiobook, you have to pick the book that you like and then hope you like the person who's reading it. And if that person just drives you crazy, that's the end of the book. Even if the book will be perfectly fine in print. And I don't have a lot of time to read print books these days, because then my hands have to stop moving. I'm not one of those talented people who can read and craft simultaneously. But yeah, so I started listening to Phoenix Unchained, which is book 1 of the Enduring Flame series by Mercedes Lackey and James Mallory. And they had it through the Kansas State Library. It has like an account with One Click audiobooks. So I got it from the library through the Kansas State Library online. And that book, it was released in 2007. So I know it's supposed to be part of a series. I haven't looked into that at all because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I think I'm enjoying it. We'll see if I enjoy the rest of the book. I'm only on like the second chapter. Though it only has like 8 chapters, so I'm decently far through. But yeah, since it was released 2007, I'm hopeful that there would be more books in the series already out that I can put my hands on if I want to read them. Because that is the hard thing about series books, is like, I like to binge do just about everything. And so if I'm like into a series, I want to just go with it till I'm done. So we'll see how that all works out. But I am enjoying it, and I think I'm on board with the whole fantasy book things, and I would like to read more of them. So if you have a suggestion of an author or a series or something, preferably not something like crazy popular, let me know. Because I'm not a big fan of like, everyone's reading it, you should read it too. Well, in most cases I don't. And same with shows. I tend not to get on the big bandwagon, but I don't know. I guess I'm watching House of Cards right now. Though we haven't watched any this week, which is terrible. Yeah, so what I am watching, I watched Switched to Birth this week. I watched it on Netflix. And if you haven't seen it before, it's an ABC Family show about 2 girls who are not actually sisters, but they are babies who were switched. So they live with each other's biological parents growing up. So they're kind of sisters, but they're kind of not. But yeah, so it's all about that. And this is the second half of season 3 because ABC Family releases their seasons like half and then half. And they come to Netflix in that same fashion. So I guess they just started playing season 4 on ABC Family. But, yeah, so I watched in like 3 days. 2 days? 3 days? I watched the last half of season 3. Kind of all at once. The only funny thing about Switched at Birth is because, a bunch of the people on the show are deaf and speak through ASL, or American Sign Language, which they caption for those of us that don't know the language. You can't not, like, watch the screen, so I can't craft very well while I'm watching it, because usually in shows, like, I half listen, and then it kind of gets quiet, and, something might be happening on screen, but then someone will say something, and I'll know what went on that I missed. Except things will get quiet, and then I'll realize that, like, a whole scene went by, and people were talking, and since I was not reading, I missed everything that happened. So, I can't craft and watch Switched at Birth, but I had a fussy kid this week, which I'll talk more about, and, yeah, so there was lots of time when I couldn't be crafting, so instead I watched Switched at Birth, and that was very good. I have also, at night, when I go to bed, in my room, I have been watching Gilmore Girls on DVD, because we have all the seasons on DVD, and I've seen every season a lot of times. Though not so much the later seasons, but I'm still, I think, on season, let's see, I'm on season 3. So this is when Rory and Jess are dating. Yay. Though right now, much strife in the relationship. So, yeah, I've been watching Gilmore Girls and enjoying it as usual. One thing I've totally noticed this time around is how many knits they wear. Obviously, they're not hand knits. They look very much like store-bought, but very nice store-bought. Though yesterday, in the episode I was watching, like it was happening yesterday. No, yesterday, the episode I was watching, Suki had on a crocheted, like, sweater thing. Like, it was like a tunicky sweater. It was really pretty. And I really liked the yarn. I would not have, like, I was looking very closely at the pattern, and I would not personally make that pattern, but I really liked the yarn. It was like a turquoise, like, teal and green and black variegated. It was very nice. But yeah, and they've been wearing lots of, like, sweaters and hats, and I've been very much enjoying their clothing choice. So I'm curious if their, wardrobe person is a knitter. Maybe there's a good chance based on some of the choices that have been made. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. If you want to see some people wearing some inspirational knits, you could watch Gilmore Girls. This week, too, with the kids, I've been trying to watch more movies and less just, like, watching episode after episode of shows on Netflix. So we watched Annie this week, and that was fun. They were pretty good. Like, they, like, sat and watched most of it. The plot of Annie's kind of funny. My kids don't get why people are mean, which is a great thing. Like, I wish I was still, you could be an adult and still be with the mindset of, like, why would somebody stamp on somebody's toe just to be mean? I don't know. There's really no good explanation. People shouldn't be mean, but obviously they are. So yeah, we watched Annie. We also have been watching Fantasia. Now, we haven't been watching it all in one fell swoop. And in fact, the first segment of Fantasia, the 1940s version, which we also were watching on Netflix, was kind of, I don't know, it's a little boring for the kids because there was no plot line. The first story or segment is to, The Toccata and Fugue by Bach. And it's all, like, shadows and just colors, and there's not a lot of, like, figures, which, as an adult, was kind of cool to watch. The kids were kind of eh. Though, I must say, I probably crocheted a lot more during that segment, and, like, actively watched a lot less. But the music was still good. And then we watched the second one, which had Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite, which was super, super cool. It's all to, like, a foresty theme, and so there's, like, flower shapes of different kinds and types, like, dancing like ballet dancers, and leaves, and if you're looking for color or pattern inspiration, I actually would totally suggest watching Fantasia. because I have seen so many interesting, like, interplays of color that have made me be thinking about stuff. And if you're into color work, there are actually several scenes I saw where I was like, oh, that would be an amazing, like, sweater to do in Fair Isle, if that's your thing. So yeah, we also watched, night before last, we watched a movie of the Boxcar Children. And it was really good, too. I enjoyed it was animated, like computer animated. But I enjoyed the tone of the animation. I still miss, like, the hand-drawn animation. Everything looks so, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? That, like, animation has changed and everything looks so kind of, I don't know, like, crisp, I guess. Or there's not a lot of, it is like a coloring book, and I kind of miss that. Quite possibly just me waxing poetic about my youth, and when I was a kid, this is how cartoons looked. But yeah, there's just something different about it. But yeah, I liked the tone and the coloring and the voices I enjoyed, which is always important, because, yeah, when there's a voice actor that annoys me in a animated something or other, it bothers me the whole time. But yeah, I enjoyed that, and thought it was well cast in that respect, and it was super book accurate, which I really like. A lot of times when they adapt books, especially children's books, they, like, change things, which, I don't know. I just think that that's kind of annoying. Though, I mean, it is a good point for discussion about what's different about the book, but this was very accurate to the first book of the Boxcar Children. So that was interesting. And I'm probably going to start watching Sherlock this week. There is a new group on Ravelry that is doing a Netflix along. And they're doing a couple of different things. I guess there's some thread where you could, like, watch Friends and make things for your friends and talk about it or something. I don't know. That one seems very loosey-goosey to me. And I don't know if I would post on that thread. But they are also going to watch Sherlock, which I've been wanting to watch and kind of need someone to push me to actually, like, start doing. Because I think once I start into it, I will like it. And they're watching, like, an episode a week. Because there's, like, I don't know, not that many episodes because it's a BBC show. So it runs in shorter series. And each episode's, like, almost 90 minutes. So that shouldn't take me very long. In fact, my bigger problem is going to be to try and watch it at their pace and not just binge watch the whole thing. But I think I'm going to try and spread it out, like they're suggesting. We'll see. But they're making Sherlock scarves while you watch, which I think is cool. They offered a knit and a crochet pattern. The crochet pattern is crazy simple and, I don't know, kind of boring to me. So I think I'm going to try and crochet the knit version, kind of. The crochet version was just going to be, like, single crochet or double crochet. I think it's single. Just, like, back and forth in, like, color blocks, and that's boring. So I think that I'm going to do, though, I guess what I'm going to do is kind of boring, too. But the knit version was done in the round. In, like, I think I was stockinette. And then it had, like, striping in it. So I actually think I might try crocheting it in the round, at, like a small needle size. Crocheting in the round with the same stripe progression as the knit scarf, because I liked the way the knit scarf looked better than I liked the way the crocheted scarf looked. Because, yeah, basic scarves are just kind of basic scarves. So, yeah, we'll see what I come up with that. But I'm probably going to start watching Sherlock. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it, like, this week. I'll watch episode 1. We'll see. So, moving along to 5 things on the Funny Farm. Around here, sleep has been at a premium. My youngest I think he's growing. So, yeah, there's been lots of just, like, screaming because, well, why not if I can scream? Oh, look, here's my kitty. She just crawled up on me. Say hi, Penelope. Say hi. But yeah, so I haven't been getting a lot of sleep because of that. Between that and my number 2 is toilet training, and so he keeps waking up at night and needing to be changed, and yeah, good times. So I've been, despite wanting to and mentally wanting to get up earlier before the kids do and like be productive and be ready to go in the morning, I've been sleeping in past when my husband gets home from work. Because, I mean, luckily the boys have been sleeping in too. I've kind of been sleeping as long as my youngest will sleep, because if I get up, he tends to wake up too. But yeah, sleep's at a premium, so I'm pretty tired. But my husband's going into some days off, so hopefully we'll all get some rest. We were still getting over being sick, and I think everyone is finally better and caught up on eating, like has calories in them again. So now we just need to get everyone a little more rest and move along with life. Number 2, I started doing our preschool curriculum with my number 2. He is, like 2.5? A little older than that. That's about when I started with my daughter. Which I know seems crazy early to a lot of people, but since my daughter homeschools and she has her lessons, he wants lessons too. And I think he's ready. So, and by preschool, this is like light preschool at this point, because he is so young. Because we end up doing like 2.5, almost 3 years of preschool, and then it moves on. And anyways, he will be doing preschoolish curriculum for quite a while. But yeah, started doing that, and that was fun, and he seemed to enjoy it, and it reminded me a lot of doing it with my daughter, and how much fun, not that lessons aren't fun anymore, but there's something different about when they're younger and not complaining and begging to do more, as opposed to like, I have to work, and giving you attitude and stuff. He doesn't know how to give me attitude about it yet. He has not learned that. He'll learn that. We'll have plenty of lessons on that, apparently. And I'm sure he'll be 10 times worse because he's heard his sister do it. And she had to come up with it on her own. Let's see. So the third thing here on the Funny Farm, my family in California on Sunday finally opened all of the Christmas presents that I sent them. My brother-in-law had to have his gallbladder out kind of spontaneously on right after Christmas when they were supposed to do Christmas. So they hadn't had a chance to get back together to open gifts. So the gifts were just sitting at my sister's house waiting for everybody. But everything went over really well, apparently. They were all quite well received. Though my mom only told me what people thought of what I considered like the novelty presents, like the Grinch hat and the beard hat and the water polo hats, which thankfully they identified as being water polo helmets. So I figure that's a step in the right direction. She did say that she liked the Croc socks I made, though she is kind of adamant that she is going to wear them as just normal slippers. Whatever. I'm like, I can make you some slippers. I made those with a purpose, but that's fine. So long as she uses them, I guess I'm happy. Next time we go out to visit, though, I have some more of that yarn. I'll probably take it. And if she's going to just wear them as slippers, I will make the ribbing on the top a little taller. That way you can't just, like, walk out of them. Because I did try wearing them as slippers around the house, and they were quite comfortable. They just need a little bit more ribbing, and then I think they'll fit better. But yeah, so everybody liked their gifts. So that was exciting. You know, when you make stuff, especially for a bunch of teenagers, you never know how that's going to go over. Though, so Mom commented on all the novelty stuff. Her and my dad were telling me what people thought of that. They didn't mention what anybody thought of, like, my sister's cowl or my niece's mitts. Like, the things that I think are functional. And actually, when I look at all of the presents I sent, the things I think are going to get the most actual use, no one told me what they thought of those. So, we'll see. Maybe I'll hear. Maybe I won't. Number 4, I bought a Craftsy class. My very first Craftsy class. Probably one of my only, because I know that people are really into buying them. I was not super duper impressed, but it may also be that it was on a topic that I have done a decent amount of research on and already watched a lot of YouTube videos on. I just wasn't quite finding the information I wanted. So I bought a Craftsy class called From Fluff to Stuff about spindling with Drusilla Pettibone. That's her name. Isn't that a great name? I don't know. And so thing I liked is that she was using a bottom whorl spindle, which is what I have and what I think I'm going to like best. And she was using a supported method, so like spinning it on a tabletop. And she was doing long draw. And so I've been practicing like a supported long draw method now instead of trying to like drop it or do park and draft, which I was not putting the proper amount of twist in my yarn. I think I was putting too much in, and now I might be a little loose on, stop stepping on the keyboard, Penelope. I might be a little loose on the twist. That's the word I'm looking for. So I'm playing with that still, but here's my spindle. But I've been working on that this week. Yeah. So that's what's happening on that. And then I'm almost through, like I was saying, with the undyed roving I have. This is what I have left to finish on that. And then I have a braid in the pumpkin patch colorway from Maine something? Place I got the spindle on Etsy, and I would like to spin that because that's just where I'm heading. And then after that, on deck will be my January Pancake and Lulu. Because I kind of think I want to try and spin things in the order that I'm getting the fiber for now. Because I don't have, you know, huge stores of it. I would like it to kind of come in and then be heading out to be used. Because I really want to make something out of hand spun. But that requires me to make enough hand spun to make something. Yeah. So supported long draw seems to be working a lot better. And making more sense to me. My last thing, we are making an effort to be a bit more health conscious around here again. We are back to counting points. I think I mentioned in a past episode that I did Weight Watchers, gosh, it seems like a million years ago. Like 9 years ago? What about like 2005? Almost 10 years ago. And I had a lot of success, and I like really figured out how to, most I figured out actually that I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't eating often enough or enough food overall. And in part, I was in college and I was crazy busy at the time. And eating just was not always a priority. So it helped me, like, the point system at the time, the momentum system is what they were on, I think. It made sense to my brain about how to compare foods to one another. And so I have kind of just stuck with that, even though Weight Watchers has changed and changed and changed again. I have my materials, and I do not go to meetings. I occasionally frequent Weight Watchers message boards, though I haven't been doing that lately. But I just count my points myself and go with the materials that I have. And Steve is now counting points too, because in the last few months have been hard in our life. There's been a lot of health issues, not with us, but with my parents, and that's been stressful. So we had been really on board and like doing what we needed to do to be healthy and get things done, and then life kind of happened, and stress eating and just stress not caring about anything else because, well, stuff's going on. So yeah, so we're back to counting points, and I'm trying to exercise more. I am taking Taekwondo. Woo! So right now I'm learning my white belt form, for those of you that do Taekwondo, and practicing my kicks and my stances. Apparently, my kicks, I keep doing good kicks, but not the kind of kick I'm supposed to be doing. So now I'm trying to figure out my muscle memory and what needs to do what to make things happen. And I'm hoping to probably start doing some more walking tapes again, too, in addition to the Taekwondo on the other days. Because, you know, there's so many hours in the day, I just, you know, need more things to fill them because I don't have enough things to do. I could clean my house, or I could do something else, like a walking tape. But yeah, so those are the things that we're doing. We're trying to be a little more health conscious. Like I said, I also, after I was sick, I quit drinking coffee again. I go in these phases. I tend to drink tea all summer, and then, all winter I drink hot tea. And then during the summer, I really like coffee. But I also kind of got to the point where I was drinking coffee, and if I didn't drink coffee, I ended up with a headache. Well, I didn't drink coffee the entire time I was sick, so I kind of got over that hump, I think. And the caffeine headaches and stuff just kind of got lumped in with, the sick, so I didn't notice them as much. So now that I'm not drinking caffeine again, I think I'm gonna just not for a while. And just, I mean, I guess drinking caffeine because I drink a lot of tea and that has caffeine in it, but it's not quite the same. And a lot of the teas I drink are herb tea. So yeah. So just trying to be a little more healthful and more intentional. I was thinking about that. People think of like a word for their year. And I think I'm trying to be more, it's intentional. People have been, like, I've seen different people's words and, like, trying to think about what one fits. But somebody used the word budget, and that kind of, I agreed with, like, that I want to take the resources I have, be them time, money, energy, whatever, and spread them out across all the things that I need to and use them in a more intentional way. But then that kind of just made me think of, like, I want to be more intentional. And part of that to me is, like, scheduling things that I need to get things done in a more timely manner, or, like, have more of a plan. Because when I don't have a plan, I feel very spinny. Like, I just feel like everything's just, like, whooshing around, and I can't focus on anything because I'm focusing on everything. And it's very unpleasant, and at some point I get too spinny and everything just kind of shuts down and I do nothing. Be it crafty, productive, life-wise, I just do nothing. And I'd like to try and avoid that feeling as much as possible this year because it's very unpleasant and nothing good comes of it. So I'm trying to avoid the spinny feeling this year and be more intentional in the things that I do, but also try and make sure that I'm doing all the things I want to do in with that. So intentional, scheduled, budgety, yeah, all kind of things that I'm thinking of. I don't know that I have a word, but I'm just trying to be more, like, in it this year. Yeah, I don't know if that's a resolution. I don't think it is. I just think I'm recalibrating for the year. I've done the gauge swatch, and what I was doing was not fitting. So I need to tear out and try again. So, we'll just frog the past, and we like the yarn, right? So we'll make something else out of it. So anyways, if you are still with me, this is relatively short. Kind of, maybe? I don't know. I can't see the timer. I'm going to hope it's relatively short. If you are still with me, well then I love you more than cows and cheese and applesauce. And I hope that you have a good one and continue to make such nice work.